Hi, I'm Lou with another episode of My Car Story, and today I'm in the western suburbs of Illinois, and I've got friend of the channel, Frank Troost. It's been a while since we've had Frank on the channel, so I'm excited to show you his newest, greatest car. Frank, what year, make, and model is this one?
It's a 1960 Edsel Ranger two-door hardtop.
It's a pretty cool ride. You don't see many of these, and yet here it is. Frank, come right alongside me, and let's take a look at the front of that. So, how long have you had it?
I bought it at the end of April. They had an auction in Auburn, Indiana, end of April, the Worldwide Auction Company.
And what drew you into this one?
Well, I like things that are unique and different. The color of cars is often important to me, and I like the blue with the white top, and I like the overall styling of the car, especially the rear end.
Well, we will get to that. Just right off the bat, you have these it's interesting, you have very thin fenders in the front with the E. You have the turn signals way to the outside. You have this almost Pontiac 59 beak in the center, like a Bonneville, but yet it almost looks like years later an Imperial. And if we come over here, come on with me, Frank, there's that telescopic turn signal, lots of chrome, and this chrome strip follows the body line all the way to where Frank likes it in the back. And since the sun is coming out, I'm going to show you this one more time with the sun on it, just because it's that good.
The only really decorative item, like the previous models, was that the emblem right there. It's kind of faded out, but you can see it's like the old horse collar grill, and was the similar to the emblems used on the 58 and 59.
Look at that. You see how the wipers go inside out. You have sport mirrors on this one. Let's step along the side. You have obviously the Ranger. These are the custom caps with the E in it. You can almost see it. You can fit your hand in there.
Most likely those are 58 or 59 caps. I don't think they offered that in the 60s.
Okay.
And all these 60 Edsels were Rangers. They only made one line of cars.
This is it.
This is it. They were the Rangers. They were in 58 when they came out. They had 4 different lines and made them in all sorts of different models. So it was very limited on the 60s. From what I understand, that they were obligated to produce an Edsel for a 3rd year under contract with their dealers, that they would make the car for at least 3 model years. From what I've read, they couldn't get out of the contract, so they said, okay, well, we'll make a 60 Edsel. And they took a 1960 Ford and just changed the front end and rear end, and kept most of the car the same, including the dashboard.
Now, just like the Galaxy, it would usually have stars here.
Well, that's on the Ford.
Or on the Ford, but yeah. Notice on the inside, you could see where those would normally be.
Yeah, that's right. Right. I guess they weren't putting any more money into this thing than they had to.
Yeah.
So they left that interior trim piece the same, and but they didn't put stars on it.
Well, let's step back one more time since I've got the sun on it. The sun is playing peekaboo with us, so we will take advantage and show that right there. It's just great. We'll take a look at the back. Now here's the side that Frank likes the best. First of all, take a look at that quarter look.
To me, the back of it looks like from a jet plane. The rear window, too, is very unique. If you look at the way that piece of glass was cut.
Oh, yeah. That bottom right there.
It's identical to the 64.
Yeah, very different with that little extra chunk of glass there at the bottom. The word Edsel clearly here. You've got your gas cap. Now, is this car a survivor? Or
it's the interior was original. That's one of the things that intrigued me about it. It said 58,000 miles approximately, and I had every reason to believe that was original. The interior is original.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's show them. We've got some trunk and treats, and let's show them that right now. open up the trunk, you can see these rear fenders, and the trunk kind of sits in the middle of that, which is what I wanted to step back. But we have the Edsel here. The Edsel for 60, they called it the new, the nifty, and the thrifty. Nobody gives you style and savings the way Edsel does. We have the maintenance manual, the master parts illustration from the Edsel Club. Here's some information of the two-door hardtop for you. There were only 243 of this model produced. And then you have the owner's manual with some details there. I won't go through all of that, but this I found interesting when we were talking. Frank, what is this? These three pieces here.
Okay, so from what I have learned, that these cars had offered two transmissions. With the smaller V8 and the 6, you got a Power Glide. And there apparently were complaints on the Power Glide, so they notified the people that had bought the cars with Power Glide that they could take it in, and the Ford dealer essentially put in a shift kit. Those of you that had experience with performance cars, oftentimes people will put a shift kit in their cars. It holds the transmission in gear longer and it shifts more aggressively. So I guess that's what the. So I assume that has it. You can see it says Cures late mushy upshift.
Yeah.
So that was still with the car.
Wow, that's cool. And as I'm back in here as well, I see you've got some jacking instructions with the body. And we'll go back to the car. And we're back. We've got the dual exhaust. Frank, you were talking about the interior just before the trunk and treats. Let's take a look at that, shall we?
Okay.
May I open it?
Yeah, this, somebody would have put that dual exhaust on later, because this was the base 292 V8. Interestingly, they offered it a no extra charge option. You could get a 6-cylinder. So it wasn't any extra, but you didn't get any credit. The floor mats are rather unique. I couldn't quite figure them out. I thought maybe somebody painted them, because underneath is black. That E is embossed into the. So I have to kind of think those might have been factory mats, both on the front and the back, and maybe somebody painted them. Maybe that's the way they came.
I like how you have the different materials, so that just like this. Let me step back for just a second.
Yeah.
Let me show that bench seat. You can see that material. It actually has sparkles. I hope that shows up with the sun. And then you have these crests here as well, and then you have the E etched in there. And for an original interior, there's those back floor mats. And look at how the door goes into that back piece here, where it blends in right there. So as I get closer to the steering wheel, you can see that Edsel there, your horn here. I'll show you the instrumentation.
It's basically straight from a 1964 the dashboard.
Added that Edsel there. And the other thing is you could see that Edsel badge over there. We have our Ford radio and our heater, like so. So there's your park reverse neutral drive. There's your mileage. Maybe that's the original mileage, we're not sure. Let's take a look under the hood since we got the sun on it. There's a hood latch.
Yeah, there's a release. So somebody did this, a rattle can restoration on the engine at one time. It's something to be
It's interesting how you have these little thin fenders here, and in the back, how big, fat, and wide they are back there. That's different. And this is the 292. This is the wide job motor, yes?
Yeah, it's the same thing they used in the Thunderbird.
Yeah, you could see that with the manifold tipping up right there. I like that. Your Edsel windshield washer reservoir.
Well, somebody put that there because they thought it was neat, but there's no windshield washers.
Okay.
There's no pump or anything.
Is that
else.
right? So they just
Yeah.
did it for show.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, it got me. You got me on that one. That was good. Well, let's fire it up, shall we?
Okay.
I'll listen to it idle. Fired right up. Can we step on the brakes for just a second? There's your brake lights. There we go. The dual exhaust got a nice little rumble to it. Frank, go ahead, give it a rev. A little rumble to it. I think we need to take it for a ride.
Yeah, well, we'll cross our fingers on that.
All right, sounds good. 60 Edsel Ranger two-door hardtop. What's the reaction since you've had it?
Well, nobody knows what it is. They have some kind of an inkling it might be a Ford, and that's a pretty good guess since about 90% of the car is Ford. But the style of the rear end is really unique and different, and nobody is going to know what that is. You know, I should say I've only had this car about 6 weeks, and it had been sitting around in storage a long time, and it's required some sorting out. It still is not 100% dependable. I had it out a little early and installed, and it took me about 20 minutes to get it going.
So far, so good.
Yeah. Well, I think it was a choke issue. I think the choke was sticking closed. So.
Show people we're out here in the western suburbs. We won't take it too far then. It's a little hot and sticky today, but it feels great with all the windows down as we're going through. So I know that, you know, you didn't even see many 60 Edsels in 1960 because there were so few.
Right.
So it's really a treat to see this one. I think I've seen this one and one other one on the channel, so it's really a treat to see one. And I love the color on this.
Yeah, the color, I'm a color buyer. That is a strong influence on me choosing a car. I'm not going to buy any silver, black, or white. I like pastels, different colors.
Yeah.
One thing, this car doesn't have power steering or brakes. And what the former owner did, which I see people do very often on these older cars, they take and they buy these oversized radial tires and they put them on.
Okay.
And that makes the steering just dreadful. If you had the original bias belt, narrower tires, the manual steering isn't too bad. But you put those radials on, they have all that grip.
And it gets a little challenging.
Yes, it does, especially when you go to park it. But, you know, I tell people that, and no one ever listens to me. They say, no, you know, the radials are better and so on.
That's funny.
But I question that, too. Most of my the tires on my cars are 25, 30 years old, and they're about all bias belt. And I don't have a problem. Where the radials now, they say at 8 years you should replace them. Or now I think they're starting to say 5 years you should replace them. So
Okay.
I will stick with my bias belts on the old cars. But then I'll probably be too cheap to change them on this car.
I'll just show people a little bit where we're driving. They're making a hard left thanks to that sign right there, a little straightaway.
So this is a big car. I mean, it's 18 feet long.
Yeah, that's
my
a monster.
1960 Imperial is only 18 and a half feet long. So it's 6 inches. It's only 6 inches shorter.
I don't know if you know this, they had some kind of a challenge because it was so big that there was a little question if it was going to be road legal.
Yes, the width was the issue.
Yeah, the width being
and
the
I
issue.
read somewhere it was those little lights up on the front corners of the fenders that were causing the problem.
I like the headliner too, I'll show that.
They must have.
It has like little speckles in it.
They must have overcome that.
Well, Frank, it's always fun to see you. It's so much fun to get a chance to ride in such a rare car as this, let alone a fun car. And thanks so much again for being on My Car Story. Always a treat to have you.
Okay, it's a pleasure. Hope to see you again soon.
Thank you.